Hi everyone and welcome back to Daytime. We're now going to talk about interior design for men. Please help me welcome Damon Snider with Type T Living. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm stoked to be here. It should be fun.
You look like a designer. I mean, you've got your tattoos, you're dressed the part. How long have you been a designer?
Well, I graduated in 2006 from industrial design and just been freestyling it ever since. So.
Industrial design,
Yes.
What is that?
So that's like product design. It's more, you know, designing the actual tables, designing forks, designing motorcycles, whatever it is. And then I just took a passion for furniture and you know, home design and all that kind of stuff, and just having fun with it.
So do you actually make your own pieces?
I do, yeah.
That is crazy. I'm going to get into that in a second.
Sure.
But why are men so awful when it comes to design?
You know, awful is a horrible word to use,
but it's true.
The fact is, you know, they don't have the same design sense as, you know, a female, for instance. You know, the lines, everything that they pick up, they take things too literally, right? So if they're obsessed with cars or their passion is hockey and all that kind of stuff, they want to absorb their entire life with those things, and they just kind of throw it up all over the place, and then that's what they call their design, right?
Okay. So what are they doing wrong then? So they're taking their hobby and just taking it too literally, which means everything is hockey, as an example?
Everything's hockey, or everything's just like all over the place, or there's too much hockey, or there's too much cars going on, and they just take it to that level where, you know, you can't really work with it, and it's too overwhelming for people that are in the space, right? You don't want to feel like you're in a hockey arena when you go and hang out and watch a movie. You want to feel like maybe there's an essence of hockey, or we understand that the guy likes to play hockey or likes to watch hockey, but you don't want to feel like you're in some sort of Hall of Fame memorabilia type of environment, right?
So who breaks the news to them that this is all wrong?
It's the women they bring over. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we're designing our spaces for ourselves, and I'm talking men in general, but we invite females over who are going to be our toughest critics, right? I can live potentially in a room and be swarmed by hockey stuff, but I have to, you know, take into consideration the other people that are going to be coming over and, you know, trying to feel comfortable in that space as well. So you got to do that fine balance.
And you were saying that that's one of the reasons why men aren't that great, is because then the women start to influence too much.
Right. So you know, you have a girlfriend and maybe they see that you're really hurting in the design department, right? So they'll try to step in, take you on your little home sense run, and like
add their feminine touch.
Add a couple throw pillows, which I might say is not a horrible thing. Like we can rock out throw pillows, no problem. But you know, it's got to be you know, sort of more dude approved is what I like to call it.
Dude approved.
Dude approved.
So what's a dude approved throw pillow look
like?
Well,
I mean, you know, colors. We can play with graphics. We can play with textures, but you know, the floral print maybe not so dude approved.
I don't like those either, though.
You know, but the problem is, as you mentioned, is that the female influence is what's, you know, pushing these guys to get that kind of stuff. So now the girls are trying to sort of decorate their guys' spaces for the guy, but it ends up turning into like a space that's more female, you know, driven and all that kind of stuff.
So, and I also notice, you know, with friends and stuff, that the guy only has a small little area in the house.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's usually just the garage.
For sure.
Is that good or bad?
It's fine. Like so my demographic is not just bachelors, not just single guys living their life. It's also, you know, husbands and boyfriends and people that are living with their partners, right? So yeah, so they have their garage, or they have their little man cave, let's call it, in the basement that everybody, you know, sort of designates as that's the guy's spot. But the problem is when they're so restricted to, okay, you can't touch anything in the living room or the kitchen or the bathroom or the bedroom, their man cave turns into a testosterone-filled explosion of everything to do with guy stuff.
Right.
So when I come in and design for these guys, I try to take all those elements, but just like clean it up so that you can go down and enjoy some quality time if he allows you.
Right.
Right. Or you don't feel like, you know, it is that man cave. What I'm trying to redefine it as is as a gentleman's den.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, forget the man cave, forget the hockey posters and things filling the walls and going crazy, but we call it a gentleman's den. So it has those, you know, vibes and the essence of what you're trying to achieve, but it's just cleaned up a little bit so that it's now chick-friendly, which is my other terminology.
Chick-friendly gentleman's den. I like that. So are you catering to, let's say, a rock and roller, or just that stay-at-home dad? Like, who's your guy? Anyone?
It's anybody that just needs help, anybody who's, so I guess the influence behind this company was all these girls are talking to me about how their guys' spaces are kind of a mess. He doesn't know what to do. Can you help him? Your place is nice. We want his place to look a little bit more presentable, right? So it's really any guy that just doesn't have a clue, or lots of guys do have a clue, they just don't know how to execute it properly, right? So, I mentioned HomeSense before. I'd rock out HomeSense any day of the week. It's just don't, have a shopping cart and your arm out and, swoop everything into your basket.
Right.
You got to pick those signature pieces that are going to really make the room something special.
So what's the first step when considering a space?
So if I were to come in and look at a client's potential space, and they're hiring me, but forget the hourly wage, forget all the, the nuts and bolts of the operation. I just come in and tell them what's up. I'll have to call them out and say, okay, you got to just really, all that, like just relax with all that, like just tone it down. I try to reuse stuff that they have already because I'm, from an industrial design background. Everything goes into a garbage dump. There's so much waste, so I try to reuse whatever I can, repurpose it, upcycle it. Even an IKEA piece of furniture I can revamp to make look like a refined piece of, furniture that they can show off and have fun with, right?
So if there's someone who, let's say, doesn't want to get rid of a desk or something, you could actually say, all right, well, it doesn't suit this space, so let's redesign it so that now it does. So is the first thing to just come up with what you want it to look like or say?
It's a flow of the space. So what I try to do is, okay, everything's so congested over here, or there's too much tabletop items, over the space here, or when you're eating at this table, you're blocking the view of this, or when you're entertaining, these are the problems that you're going to have come about, right? So I try to just reconfigure the space based on the architecture of the condo or room or whatever it is I'm in, and then just maximize and re-strategize the overall flow of the space.
Now you're going to stick around after this break. I want to know, do you prefer dealing with large or small spaces? Which one's trickier? And then we're going to get into these amazing pieces, and you're going to walk us through all of that.
Perfect.
Okay? So come on back. Damon is going to be back. It's a quick break. We'll see you in a bit. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Daytime. We're talking about interior design for men. Please help me welcome designer Damon Snider. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah. Well, I was going to bolt out, but I figured I'd stick around for a little bit.
I have all your pieces, so you can't go anywhere.
True. Yeah.
So before the break, I asked you what space you prefer designing. Is it a large space, small space? Does it matter?
It doesn't matter to me. I'll freestyle anything basically. I've seen really tiny spaces that I have to make work, and I've had unlimited budgets that I can just have my way with, right?
Which one's harder, though?
It's funny. I'm a real economical guy. I like to do budget-friendly stuff from the get-go. Even if people have tons of money to spend, I'll try to go for the most cost-effective solutions. It's tougher when you have unlimited budget, I think, because the selections are so much more grand, and you have to do your research and find everything. And sure, I could go walk into the most expensive places and just pick off key items, but cost doesn't really translate to wicked pieces, right? Sometimes it's when you makeshift stuff and have truly unique items that, like
that one there, you've got a picture frame that was very budget friendly.
Yeah,
we'll take a look at that.
The poster was like $1.50. You order it off Amazon, you got a $1.50 poster. And typically I don't tell people hang up posters on the wall, but if you put it in a nice frame and spend a little bit of time on the dressing of that poster, you can really make it work, right?
Okay. But you fixed it up yourself, like that frame was, you actually created that.
Yeah, back in the day I did welding and metal fabrication, all that kind of stuff. So because of the content in the actual poster, I want to make the frame look pretty industrial as well, right? So to makeshift those rivets and just sort of play around.
Like, where would that look nice?
I mean, that would look nice pretty much anywhere, as long as, your theme of your room wasn't like daisies and lollipops and raindrops and all that kind of stuff, right? But, because I do a lot of guy decor, I mean, you can plop that up in a living room. You can even do, like, depending on the space, in a kitchen would be kind of cool. I personally have that in my gentleman's den, which is my movie room, where a lot of these elements that I brought here today are from.
Let's talk about this piece. This is amazing.
So, everybody, the whole new thing is, like, American pickers. Like, everybody wants to find these, like, vintage 1940s, 1950s pieces. And so this is like an old railway cart that you'll see everywhere. I just decided to put a little spin on it, right? So I added the glass tabletop. I have all these 1930s road maps with cool graphics just to like lay underneath. So this is how I express that I like cars. I don't have like a million car posters underneath here that's filling every single square footage of that. But
and like I said, they're vintage.
Oh yeah, these are legit from like the 30s. Yeah, actually, when I moved into my house, I had like boxes full of like old stuff that the other owners left behind. They were there like originally, and a lot of these like little road maps and stuff that they'd probably see as garbage, I scooped up and made use of it. Yeah, and colors, right? Because like I always tell people, don't paint your walls like some vibrant colors that you're gonna get sick of in like 6 months. So keep your walls kind of neutral, and then throw in like little vibrant piece of color in like your art and your tabletop pieces just to add that color and warmth and playfulness, right?
So you're using the color as your accent pieces.
Right.
So the walls are somewhat neutral. I like that tip.
So like the other thing is you get bored of these graphics or you get bored of these colors, take the glass off, get some other things. You want to change it and put pin-up girls under there. You can do that every 6 months, and it's literally a matter of like taking the glass off and spending the 5 minutes replacing them and switching it up.
What about this? Where would this go?
So with the same sort of theme, keeping it rugged and industrial but a little bit more refined, I actually picked that up at HomeSense. I'm like at HomeSense like every single day of the week because you can find like wicked stuff there.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And anyway, so I found that it's got that sort of chain link vibe. It's industrial, but then it's got that sort of canvasy shade on it, which brings it back to a little bit more of a refined tone.
Now, is that the trend right now, industrial-looking rooms?
So a lot of my clients are, living in lofts, and, I'm just a real hands-on. I love metal, and I love, like, cars and motorcycles and all that kind of stuff. So I play around with that. But, yeah, industrial, like, you'll go to, like some girl's loft even, and she's got, wicked bar stools that are from, like, old, like, truck springs or whatever. And yeah, I mean, like everybody wants to feel like they've got something from like a warehouse, right? So that's where we bring these little elements back in, right? But the other hand is you don't have to. That doesn't have to be from the 50s. It can just sort of have the same kind of vibe as an industrial sort of piece of furniture.
Now, you were talking before, like you recycle, repurpose a lot. So where would you find something like that? Do you find them at garage sales?
Yeah, like I personally will go on Kijiji and like type in some random stuff and find myself up like 40 minutes north of the city in some random like barn, and I'm kind of hoping that I don't get like murdered or something like that. But anyways, it's all part of the fun. And there's all these cool spaces available, and usually when one guy's selling one thing, he's got a barn full of like other stuff. So then you just kind of like do your little picking and whatever it is.
Rummage.
And you rummage and you have fun with it. Otherwise, there's lots of cool vintage stores around.
And I like this, the motor oil. But also we're going to get to, you have 3 different pinup girls.
Yeah.
Now, we had a conversation about that. So you may like the female form, but you want to do it in a very elegant sort of way.
I mean, the key word is tasteful, right? You go to a lot of these, frat-inspired houses or guys that don't really have the clue, and they like women, which we all do, and they'll throw it up on the wall and, be perfectly content with that. So I like to take that sort of content and, just traditional pinup, which ties in with my 1940s, 50s
vintage
theme. And just sort of scatter around. So I've got actually like 8 of those at my place, like vertically mounted on the wall, and it keeps it tasteful. Women like it, guys will like it, and it just sort of keeps everybody, you know, content with the decor, not uncomfortable feeling.
Ties into the chick-friendly space.
Exactly.
I like that. We actually have a picture of all of this stuff in one room, which we'll take a look at. Thank you so much for dropping by.
No worries.
Maybe you'll come back again and give us some more tips.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. And thank you so much for watching. There it is. That's all of your amazing stuff in one space. It looks terrific.
Yeah, scattered around, not too much stuff, you know, have some fun with it.
I love it. And thank you again to Boston Pizza for providing our volunteers with some lunch for our National Volunteer Week. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock with more great guests. See you then.